Well, I think that Speaker Boehner has got some real leverage here because in order to get the debt ceiling raised, he's got to get Congress to go along with it. And in order for that to happen, I think the Speaker, and he said he's going to do this, is going to ask and demand that there are some very specific, concrete, visible, transparent ways in which spending is going to be cut. If he doesn't get that, I think then he ought to follow President Obama's advice when he was a senator, Senator Obama, back in 2007, when he got up and talked about... Well, no, this is what is so amazing. Right. Obama has taken all sides of every position. In 2007, there's a senator, he said voting to expand the debt ceiling would be a complete failure of leadership. Now he's had this bright light hit him on the road to Damascus, and he's seeing it all differently now. Well, you can't have it both ways. So maybe the Speaker will just take Senator Obama's position on that rather than President Obama's position on that.
All right. Can I ask you on air if you're going to run for president?
You can ask me, certainly. You just did.
I don't hear an answer.
I'm going to give you the same answer I'm giving everybody because it's the truth. I'm going to make a decision sometime by this summer, and I'll let you know. I promise.
Governor Mike, you'll come down to my office and let me know?
I'll let you know.
You got it.
Promise.
Thanks very much for joining us.
Thanks, Judge.
Liberals up in arms over President Obama's move to the center may need to brace themselves. His next move could alienate the left even more. That's coming up. The president may have glanced over some major issues in today's speech, but there's one thing he made perfectly clear. If you're a wealthy American, raising your taxes can help pay for our spending problem.
The top 1% saw their income rise by an average of more than $250,000 each. That's who needs to pay less taxes? They want to give people like me a $200,000 tax cut. That's not right. And it's not going to happen as long as I'm president.
Now, we'll see about that. Joining me now is Minnesota Congresswoman Michelle Bachmann. Congresswoman Bachmann, it's a pleasure. Welcome to the Glenn Beck program.
Well, good to see you, Judge.
What is the, likewise, what is the reaction of the members of the Congress in the Tea Party caucus to this lurch to the left by the same president who 4 months ago signed into law an extension of the Bush-era tax cuts and seemed happy when he did so?
Well, no one takes him seriously with what he's saying because it's just same old, same old. It's same song, second verse. The president is committed to class warfare. If you want to see this president irritated, angry, or sarcastic, watch what he says about people who he considers wealthy. That's people making $200,000 a year or more, or businesses. He has something against businesses. Maybe that's why we're not seeing private job creation. What you didn't hear out of President Obama is how we create more jobs in the private sector and how we create wealth. This is a good thing, but he's always attacking wealth creation.
Right. You know, I fully agree with you when you say no one can take him seriously, Congresswoman Bachmann, because back in December when he did sign into law the extension of the Bush-era tax rates, he almost sounded like Milton Friedman. He basically said, in bad times, the government should take less of your money so you have more of it to invest. The times are no better now than they were 4 months ago. Now he wants to take $1 trillion out of the economy, give it to government. Has he forgotten that private enterprise produces wealth? The government merely consumes wealth.
Well, that's exactly right. And President Obama, no president has ever come close to his level of deficits. In fact, President Obama's deficit this year will be 10 times that of George Bush in 2007, and George Bush was spending too much money. So if you take the first and second and now the third year with President Obama, his deficits in 3 years are $4.3 trillion. In his proposal today, Judge, he says he wants to cut back $4 trillion over 10 years. We'll just stop spending the money in the first place.
All right,
that's the answer.
What's going to happen in the next couple of weeks, Congresswoman Bachmann, when the president comes to the Congress and says, even though I've already borrowed $2 trillion, I got to borrow another trillion between now and October and $1.7 trillion the year after that. Will the House of Representatives, of which you are a prominent member, vote to raise the debt ceiling and let him borrow more money, or will they simply say no? The time to draw the line in the sand, Mr. President, is now. No more borrowing.
Well, that's my position. The answer is no. I think it's quite likely, though, that the answer will be yes. And the problem with raising the debt ceiling, as you know all too well, Judge, is this. This gives the United States Congress the power to continue to borrow more money.
Right.
We're already, every dollar the federal government spends, 41 cents of that dollar is borrowed money. So this just gives us authority to make a bad situation even worse. What would happen if we don't raise the debt ceiling is this. It would take 6 or 7 months before we'd really start to feel a difference. And it isn't that money would stop coming in.
Right.
Money would continue to come in. We just have to prioritize. So we'd pay our debts first. That's important. And then from there, we just couldn't pay for everything. Hey, maybe that's not such a bad idea. Just prioritize our spending.
Why don't more Republicans think like you? Why aren't there more Republicans in the House of Representatives who will just say no to the borrowing? Now is the time to stop. We can't afford it. It's immoral to borrow money when we don't have the means or the intention to pay it back.
Because the political establishment wants to keep this engine going without skipping a beat. I don't feel that way. I'm not a part of the political class or the political establishment. We can't keep this machine going. We shouldn't want to keep this machine going. What we should want is to have an efficient, functioning machine so that we can have a strong economy. I'm more interested in private job creation in the economy than I am about a bigger and bigger machine here in Washington, D.C. called the federal government.
Before I let you go, Congressman Paul Ryan has made a very, very dramatic proposal to cut radically from the president's budget. Some people think he could cut more, but it's bigger than anyone ever expected. Do you support that, and do you think the House will vote in favor of it at the end of this week?
I think the House will vote in favor. I'll be voting in favor. This bill for 2012, our budget bill that we will vote on, we will pass on Friday, is exactly the right direction, which is cutting spending and not allowing tax increases. That's a good formula for private job creation.
Yes, it is. Congresswoman Michelle Bachmann, it's a pleasure. Thanks for joining us. See you again soon.
Thank you. Okay, bye, Judge.
Bye-bye. Why Congressman Paul Ryan's plan to slash our federal debt is leaving some on the right squirming. Next.